I hear somebody's music.
Sorry.
No, I liked it. All right, I'm going to share my screen. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
Good. Hope you're making it. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to call roll, and our question of the week is, what is your hardest or most challenging class so far this semester? And you can talk to us a little about why. So let's start with Sarah. Sarah, you here?
Yes, ma'am. I just got in, so I kind of missed the question.
Oh, no problem. We're just looking at what is your most challenging class so far?
Middle East history. It's just.
I bet it is. Wait, what's so hard about it?
Well, because it's online and he like records the lectures, he just says like a lot, and you can't like stop and ask him like, who are these people, or like what are they doing and stuff like that. So I kind of like have to like Google it, and sometimes it's not like the right answer, or he might like say it differently.
Yeah.
Than like afterwards. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah, probably a lot of having to, you know, self-teaching, I would imagine. Okay, what about Braden? Braden, are you with us? Okay, what about Sam?
For me, I would say my hardest class is probably theater class, especially because I've never taken one before and it's all online and he just assigns homework and there's no like Zoom calls or anything. So it's just hard to get all the work done.
Yep, this is it theater appreciation or something?
Yes.
Yeah, that has been a popular one today, with just being the most difficult one, and maybe getting some feedback from him for some people has been hard. What about Ethan? Ethan, are you with us today? All right, what about Esther? All right, do we have Hayes?
Yes, my hardest class is probably Math 267, just because that's always kind of been my toughest area is math.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all online, kind of the same thing. We don't really have Zoom calls. We just have to watch the videos and teach ourselves.
I don't know how y'all are doing that, especially with math, to not be able to have access to the professor to ask questions. What about Reese? Are you with us, Reese? Or Maria?
Hi, my hardest class probably right now is astronomy, like with the lab. Just because we have like these long Zooms and half the time I really don't know what's going on, and then I don't know like when we have like the labs and then keeping up with that.
Yeah, how are y'all doing astronomy labs right now?
Well, my first TA got COVID, so we had to switch. And then like my first one was making it optional if you go to the labs, like you just like take pictures of your work and send it to her, or you go like somewhere and turn it in. But now we have a different one. And I'm not really sure what we're doing now.
Oh man, but yeah, that's a lot. I wouldn't know exactly how those labs would work. I will say I did love my astronomy class. My professor was Bombelli. I think he's still there. Do you know who your professor is? His name is Luca Bombelli.
I don't think that's mine.
Okay. Oh, well, he's still around because I'll see him sometimes and I'll fangirl him and say, oh, I had you for astronomy 20 years ago. He has gray hair now. He had black hair when he was my professor. All right, what about Rosa?
For me, it would be my math. It's kind of hard, like teaching myself pre-cal, especially with the limited notes that she gives us. And then the videos, I can just, that it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
cannot imagine. Pre-cal especially. Oh my gosh.
And I'm like a really big visual learner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. That's stressful. What about Maddie? Maddie Mulligan? What about Micaiah?
Hey, my hardest class will have to be math. I dropped out of my business calc class because I couldn't do it online, and then I got into this other math, so I'm like really behind. I'm trying to catch up on that, and it's just making me behind on everything else. So yeah.
Yes. Man, that is stressful. Y'all don't forget you have Miss Jackie to reach out to. She's your academic mentor, and I think she's this class's EDHE teacher too. If you're really struggling with the class, you can kind of reach out to her and get some advice. Sometimes too, she can be a liaison between you and your professor if she needs to reach out for help there. What about Wesley? All right, what about Alex?
Okay, so my hardest class would definitely be math for sure, just with the online. Um, I'm taking Math 120, so it's not even like an algebra, it's like quantitative reasoning, and I've never taken anything like that.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
that's struggling.
Man, we need like a math support group because like so many people have said math today, and I just cannot fathom how you teach. I have a hard enough time teaching writing online. I don't know how you teach math online. That's because you just kind of have to be there so you can ask questions. What about Hannah?
I would definitely say math too. I don't understand it at all. Like I barely have done any of the work because I just don't understand it.
No.
We did the same math last year, senior year, and I didn't understand it, and then I have it this year, and I still don't understand it, and it's just so hard.
Sounds like a struggle. I I think some folks too have said today that in their high school experience, they were teaching math differently, and so the new professor has a different expectation, and that can be a struggle too. Um, don't forget those office hours and trying to reach out to the instructor.
Yeah, I have like a tutor from back home who she FaceTimes me, and she helps me with it. But I'm just like I don't get this.
Yeah. Look, yeah, Rosa saying math support group. Yay, y'all need it.
There's a test tomorrow too, so I'm very scared about that.
Yeah. Well, if other folks have the same thing, y'all get together, y'all have got some study rooms in these dorms. You really could get together and study. All right, what about Julia? Do we have Julia today?
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Talk to us about your hardest class.
My hardest class probably math as well, because it's just hard because you have to basically teach it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like computers and stuff that I've been like using, and they've been helping a little bit, but it's still kind of stressful.
Yeah, it is. I can't imagine having to teach yourself math. One good skill though, guys, that really does come out of this stuff is that you do start to be that forced responsibility for your own learning. That is sort of a healthy thing. But still you need that support from your professors too. So y'all reach out during those office hours or, email them and if you need some extra help. What about Sarah Tabor?
My hardest class is probably history. It's after the Civil War and it's United States history. And it's not that like what we're learning is hard, it's just it's a lot of work and like compared to my other classes, it's really time consuming.
Yeah. Are y'all doing a lot of writing in your history class?
Yeah, we have like 2 papers. Our first one's due this week and then we have them on like our midterm and our final exam. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot this week.
I'm hearing a lot more about the writing in history, which as a writing teacher, I'm happy they're doing. But some students are really struggling. So don't forget, Sarah, that you can use the Writing Center for any class. So if you wanted to set up have a tutor look over your work for history, you can do that. Some people think the Writing Center is just for writing classes, but it's for any writing that's happening in any of your classes.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, I would, and to be honest, sometimes students will send a history paper to me just for feedback. But I can't always get that feedback, back to them in time. But yeah, the Writing Center's a good resource. And what about Kevin?
I'd say my hardest class.
Oh, I'm having trouble hearing you, Kevin.
Now.
A little bit. It's kind of choppy.
All right. I'll take my mic off.
Yeah, you can just.
Yeah, my thing kind of stinks, but.
Yeah, you can just put it in the chat, and we'll see it there. All right. Did
Hear me
anybody?
now?
Oh yes, I hear you.
Perfect. So I'd say my hardest class is probably math, just because I have to teach it to myself. I have a little bit of a calculus background, but BCalc's just a little more intricate than I expected.
I bet. Yes, business calculus has been a one that keeps coming up today too in my other classes. So I can't. Oof. I never took any kind of advanced math in college. I took college algebra and then it was elementary statistics, and it had the name elementary in it, and I still made a B. It was so hard. All right. Has anyone come in that I'm missing? So I have Braden, Ethan, Esther, Reese, Maddie, or Wesley.
I'm in here.
Hey, Ethan, what's your hardest class
Hello.
so far?
My hardest class thus far is probably human bio. It's a lot of, it's all like online lectures and stuff like that. And the videos are really long, and I really don't want to watch the videos. So it takes a lot of work to sit down and watch the videos and like focus and take notes.
Yeah, I bet. I'm struggling with that with my daughter right now with her schoolwork. How you focus in on the video and try to teach it or treat it like the teacher's there. It's a struggle. All right. Anybody else pop in that we haven't heard from?
Yeah, I'm in here.
Hey, Braden, what's your hardest class so far?
My hardest class is probably the business calculus.
You're struggling too. You and Kevin need a support group.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Well, guys, thank y'all for sharing. We're all in this together. I know that I wish we were all face to face and could see each other, but we are a community and we need to support each other. So I'm loving what I'm seeing in the chat. Looks like Rosa has started a math support group, and that really could help folks who are struggling. Y'all could get together and study. Okay, some announcements for this week. We are finished with Unit 1. Hallelujah. And we are starting fresh with Unit 2. So we're going to be talking about that at length today. Remember, there's been a change in office hours. I take office hours Tuesdays from 1 to 3, and Miss Black is Thursdays from 1 to 3. That doesn't mean y'all can't reach out to us by emailing us a request for a Zoom meeting that we could do at whatever time is convenient for you, okay? But keep that in mind. Let's talk real quickly about your writing process grade. You probably saw the email on Friday that I sent out that I'd updated those. My goal is to update those every 2 weeks so that you guys are sort of constantly made aware of what that process grade is. People have asked me, is there a place I can go in Blackboard to see what I'm missing and stuff like that? There isn't. I keep track of your writing process grades on my own. And that's because they consist of so many different things. So I'm looking at how you're doing getting your RET Lab module quizzes completed. I take into consideration your discussion posts in our class blog when we do Wednesday and Friday videos. Your participation like last week when we did peer review and we did those introduction workshops last Monday. when you participate in those, I'm giving you credit there. And then also that you're being fairly active in your own personal blog space, doing those daily writes that we do each class day. Now, I don't, if you're missing a few, that's not a big deal. I just want to make sure that you're consistently in that space. If you're struggling with any part of the writing process work, I probably have already emailed you about that. If you're worried a little bit about the grade itself, don't be, because it's constantly changing. So say Unit 1, you just had trouble with your time management and knowing when to post things and that sort of thing. For Unit 2, be a little bit more on top of that, and you're actually going to see your process grade go up, right? So the process grade is based on the current effort that you're putting into the class and the process for your writing assignment. If you have any questions about that, you can send them to me. So far, that's all you have posted as a grade for this class, because the Unit 1 project isn't due until today. So this throughout the week, y'all will see the Unit 1 grades trickle in on Blackboard, okay? And you'll have 2 grades posted. Are there any questions at this point on the writing process grade? There's also a breakdown and description of that grade in your syllabus if you need it. All right, let's talk about the Unit 1 essays. They are due by the end of the day today, okay? And I'm gonna just kind of walk you through the process of submitting those. When you're in Blackboard for this class, over here to the left, you have the Unit 1 and Unit 2 tab now. You'll go into Unit 1. And the very first item is your submission tab for your Unit 1 critical thinking project. When you click in here, it'll ask you, it says here, please submit the correct file type for your project. Okay, this is really important. I prefer PDF, and the reason for that is a PDF is sort of like a photo of the document that you're working on, so it won't mess up your formatting. Word documents are fine. The only thing is, if you're saving from Google Docs, if you're exporting that as a Word document, it will often mess up your formatting. So it can mess up your spacing, and it could also mess up where your works cited page is. So sometimes it pulls the works cited page up to the top. So just keep that in mind. If you're working in Google Docs, what I would do is export that file as a PDF, and then it shouldn't mess up your formatting. Big thing, do not just put your submission in the Write Submission tab. Sometimes students will copy and paste their essay over into the Write Submission. What that does is it ends up completely obliterating any formatting. So, you know, none of the MLA specs, your spacing will be all off, your font will be different, all of that stuff. So you don't want to do that, especially for an academic paper, because remember, a part of the scoring consideration for this paper is that you know how to follow a professional style guide. In our case, it's MLA. So keep that in mind. There's don't use Write Submission, just, you know, browse from your computer and upload your file. Big thing too for my MacBook users, I'm a MacBook user too. If you're using Pages, you know, which is the kind of the Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word for MacBook users, you cannot submit a Pages file. It can't read it. So you're going to still need to export that Pages document as a PDF. Okay. Any questions about how to submit your paper? All right. All right, this next thing, you guys are going to have to go through the process with me. So your unit reflection, the daily write that's listed on your calendar for Friday, is not a daily write. It's actually what we call a unit reflection, because Friday was the last day of Unit 1, okay? On the last day of the unit, you guys will write a reflection about how that unit went. And a part of that is to actually go back into your space and read all of the daily writes that you have posted for that unit, okay? And when you read them, you're going to tag them. And I'm going to show you how to do this, and then we're going to add a tag cloud together and kind of talk about why we do this. But make sure if you did not do the unit reflection on Friday, you'll need to make that up because these unit reflections feed into our final assignment for class, which is a final semester reflection. And so you'll need to make sure you go in and do that. And if you're wondering where the prompt is for the unit reflection, it is on Friday's it's the calendar for Friday, okay? So I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. If you want to go ahead and pull up Ed Blogs and just have it set at your dashboard for your blog space. You're going to see on mine, I have the dashboard for the class blog, but I'm just using it to model how to go into each post and add a tag. That's what we're looking at. So if you're here in dashboard, if you go over here to your left, you'll see posts. And if you click on that, it will actually list every post that you have done in your blog space this semester, okay? Now, what I want y'all to do, if you did not already do this on Friday, and by the way, if you want a more detailed description of how to do this, I put it in the class video for Friday's class. You just have to look, watch the video all the way to the end. But to do this, you'll actually click on the post, and you can click the word edit, and it'll take you into your post. And what you're going to do is you're going to read through your post, and think, okay, well, what is this post about? And y'all are probably familiar with tagging, like hashtagging on social media. But a tag is a way that you can kind of, I don't know, it serves a lot of functions. A tag is generally a word or concept that's coming out of whatever you have written or posted. And then once you tag, if you use this tag multiple times, it actually also becomes almost like an organizational tool where you can look at different posts that you tagged like the same thing. But what I want y'all to do for this is make sure you've gone into all of your daily writes for Unit 1 and make sure you tag them. And where you tag them is over here. So under categories, there's this place called tags. And you can even use hashtags, you don't have to. But if you hashtag struggle because maybe you're writing about some of your challenges right now, right? Or hashtag success, or hashtag growth. And you can actually put in as many tags as you want for that particular post. You'll add those in, and then you want to make sure that you update that post. So you're going to go back and tag, make sure you've tagged all of your Unit 1 daily writes. Does anyone have any questions about tagging?
So we do all of the posts that we have?
For every post you have, you're gonna go back in, you're gonna read it, and then you'll tag it based on some concept that's coming out of it.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's all go in together and add a tag cloud to our blog space. Okay, so if you're on Ed Blogs and you're here in dashboard, there are a couple ways that you can get to it. You can go down here to appearance and you can go to customize. Okay. This is just one way that you can get here. And what you're going to look for is where it says widgets. Widgets are little tools that we can embed onto our blog space that sometimes there's a bunch of them. If you click widgets, it'll ask you, where do you want this widget? If you have the option of sidebar, that's where I think it'd be best. But you can choose where on your page you want the widget. And then you go here to add a widget. And you get lots of different ones. Now y'all can play with these for your own blog space. Like you might want to add a gallery to your blog space and start uploading some photos. That would be fine. Or, images, links, whatever. But what you need to add, that everybody needs to add, is a tag cloud.
Wait, how do we get to that part again?
Okay. You can do it a couple ways. Are you in your dashboard?
Yes, I am.
Okay, if you go down here to appearance where the little paintbrush is,
Okay.
I'm gonna go to customize, but you can also just go to widgets themselves. But if you go to customize, you get this option of widgets and then a place. I would choose the sidebar, and then you get this add a widget option. And if you scroll down, you'll find tag cloud. The options are in alphabetical order. And once you've added it, you still have to publish up here at the top. Y'all don't worry about a title. It's just going to title it tags.
So we do tag cloud, and then mine says like footer 1, footer 2.
Yeah, do you have a sidebar option?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, choose sidebar.
Oh wait, no, I don't.
Okay.
Oh wait, yes, I do. Sorry.
No, it's all right. And then publish at the top. Okay. And once you've published, guys, you can actually visit your site. And if you've already tagged, now if you have not tagged your daily writes, it's not going to show up yet. But if you have tagged, then it's going to show up and you're going to actually see those tags listed there. Okay. Now let me show y'all what this will look like once you've really tagged a lot and added a lot of content. So I'm going to show you one of my old students' blogs. This is from a few years ago. She's in grad school now. She knows that I always use hers as an example. She just had such a great blog space. But if you look here, these are her little widgets over here. And this is her tag cloud. Now this is after a whole year of adding content to this blog space, okay? So you see all these different tags. Why do y'all feel like some of these are bigger than others? Anyone want to take a guess? So like one of the
that she wrote more about some of them, so they like the more she wrote, the bigger they got.
That's right. So she used these tags multiple times, and the more she used the tag, the bigger that tag got, okay? The reason we have a tag cloud on your page is because it helps to inform you about these things about yourself that you're actually growing from the most or struggling with the most, right? So y'all tell me, what is something you feel like she has learned the most from the year of kind of adding content here?
She's learned more about herself, like her identity and self-discovery.
That's right. Okay, so what the tag cloud does is it helps to inform her as she goes in and does her final post for the semester. More than likely, she's going to be writing a lot about self and what she's learned about herself. Y'all can see here she's from New York, so that was a huge thing for her to be so far from home. And also, y'all know, if you know of New York, you know, going from New York to Mississippi is quite a culture shock. So she wrote a lot about those kinds of things. And anyway, the tag cloud will just ultimately inform you about some of these things that you are learning and these ways that you're evolving over the semester. Okay, so your tag cloud might be really small right now because you've only added tags for this, you know, this one unit, but it'll grow. And what's kind of cool is, like, if this student wanted to use some of her old blog posts to write about this, she can actually filter. So if I click self-discovery here, it'll show me everything that she's ever posted that she tagged self-discovery. Okay, and she can go back in and kind of review that stuff and use it to develop this final reflection. Okay, so does everyone see why we're tagging and adding the tag cloud? Anyone have questions? It may not make as much sense now, but it really will by the end of the semester when we're doing these final reflections. All right. We're not going to have time today to do our mindfulness session, which I'm sad about because I sure love them. And I really love this one because it's sort of centered in nature and how to feel grounded. But you guys, I'm going to post this presentation to Blackboard so you can get back in whenever you're ready, and you can do this for yourself if you'd like to. It's a 5-minute meditation. I do want to take a second to plug our Fast Track Mindful Mondays. We're doing this through the Fast Track program, and I'm a part of that program. Or, well, I'm obviously a part of Fast Track. I'm a part of the Mindful Mondays sessions. So I'm leading them along with Tyler Gillespie, who's a writing teacher, and Camp Best, who is a Fast Track academic mentor. They've been really fun. Today was our second one. We do them every Monday at 9 o'clock. And what's cool about it is you'll see your writing teachers, your EDHE instructors are often in there, your mentors are in there sometimes, and then fellow students. It's just kind of a special time of the week where we can get together and kind of get centered and have some fellowship before the week starts. So I invite all of you to attend that. It's optional, and some of you might have class at 9 o'clock on Mondays, but if you can be there. I sent an invitation last Friday. It's a PDF invitation, and it has a hyperlink to the Zoom session. So if you'd like access to that, if you don't have it, I can email it to you. But we are going to go ahead and do our daily write today. We're going to have to do it kind of quickly. This will be the last time we check in with our goals for a few weeks. Miss Black's going to be taking over for Unit 2. So I want you to think about your goals as you've set them for Unit 1. You might even look back at the very first blog post that we did in August and check in with some of those goals that we've been making for ourselves, those academic, personal, and social goals. What are some successes you've experienced this week? We want to start with that. So things you're proud of. It can be something simple like how you're doing in a class or on a test, or it could be a social success that you have, like you've met a new friend or whatever. And then also look at how you've fallen off track this last week. So if there's something that's happened that's kind of thrown you off, or you need to kind of reset and make some new goals as we move forward, then you can do that. And if you want to connect it to our class, what could we do moving forward that can help you be even more successful in Unit 2 than you were during the last 4 weeks in Unit 1? So I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes. And if y'all will, get into your daily write space and write away. guys. All right, let's take a minute just to share a few of these before we move on, especially these successes. Who can share some successes we want to celebrate with you?
I can go.
Yeah, Sam.
Okay, so some successes I've had so far is getting my work completed. I've been able to meet with teachers to ask them many questions. Also socially, so far I've made a lot of friends and I've just been hanging out with them. The ways I've been falling off is managing my time. It's hard to manage my time with like pledge, and then also for some assignments I have to do them last minute because I just wait late. I wait and I just don't like manage my time well, so I need to try to improve on that.
Yeah. And remember that time management thing, guys, it helps you in all kind of aspects, because the more you put off work, the more stressed you get. And the more stressed you get, the harder it is to do good work, right? So trying to find ways to minimize your stress can really help you maximize that academic potential. Okay. What else? Anyone else want to share?
I'll go, but mine are pretty similar. Um, I've I've met a bunch of people and made some really good friends, but it's kind of the same thing. I often like push things off and say, "Oh, I'll do it the next day," and then the next day comes, and then I'll push it off again, and then I'll just have a huge pile of work that I have to do last minute. But I mean, yeah, that's my biggest struggle.
It sounds like some work-life balance too, right? Because the social stuff's going well, but it's sort of like the professional stuff that's getting harder. One of the things we talked about in our mindful session this morning, the fast track one, was what are some like concrete things you can do to help with work-life balance? And one of those is to turn off notifications. So if you notice that your notifications, like when people text you or, social media notifications, whatever, if that's distracting you from getting your work done, then when you sit down to do your work, go on airplane mode or turn off notifications or something like that. And it can help. It's really important to kind of train our brains to separate our lives, right, from our personal and professional work. And that's especially hard to do right now. I know for me, I'm hearing my child in the background, right? Because she's home and she's distance learning. So right now it's really hard for us to do that, but it's so important. We've got to learn how to differentiate between these spaces, especially when we're doing so much of our schooling and our working while we're home, which I know dorm rooms, aren't home, but, is where you live. Anyone else want to share?
I said that I have succeeded kind of in stepping out of my comfort zone a lot. I have gotten to where I'll come to like my sorority house like by myself and like do my homework or eat, and I'll like end up like meeting people and like sitting and meet people that way, not just come in with the people already knew
Yeah.
that were here before me. And I said I've fallen off again, like with the whole sleep situation.
Yeah.
But it comes and goes.
That's right. You can make goals for that. Well, I'm proud of you for going by yourself. I know it just can feel so intimidating, right? But it's so helpful to branch outside of your comfort zone. And that's a part of growing up.
Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, we're going to keep going here because we're running out of time. But we are leaving Unit 1. Moving into Unit 2, the Unit 2 tab is up and ready for you guys on Blackboard, so you can go in as of today and print your Unit 2 calendar. That is my biggest piece of advice, is make sure you have a hands-on copy of that Unit 2 calendar so that as you're doing the daily writes and the discussions and the homework assignments, you're checking those off for yourself, and it'll just help you keep organized a little better. Miss Black is going to be leading you guys through Unit 2. I'm so excited about it because it's a fun unit. It's going to be a lot different from this more kind of academic drudgery of Unit 1. So I'm going to hand it over to her now. unshare my screen.
All right, let's see. Oh, you need to enable screen sharing for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. That should work.
All right. Wrong thing. There we go. Okay. So let's see. So Unit 2 is, in many ways, it's going to be much the same as Unit 1, but in many ways, like Mrs. B said, it's going to be pretty different. The subject of this unit is rhetorical analysis and critical reviews. And I know that that sounds very scary and big, but it is actually not as big and scary as it sounds. So rhetorical analysis is something that I'm sure you did a little bit of work on in high school. It's like the appeals and like learning how things are written, right? Like the way that they're constructed, how we communicate the ideas that we want to communicate in the ways that we want to communicate them. And a critical review, again, that might sound unfamiliar to you, but I guarantee that you have more experience with reviews than you think you do if you don't think you have any experience with reviews. Whenever you like Google an album that you like, or whenever you read about a movie that just came out, like you're reading a review. When you use Yelp to like decide where you're going to go to dinner tonight, then you're reading reviews. If you use Yelp, then you're leaving reviews. So you have more experience with reviews than I think a lot of you think that you might, but you're going to get the opportunity to read a lot more of them and to start writing them and making them during this unit, which I think is going to be fun, which I hope is going to be fun for y'all, and I know it's going to be fun for me. So I've taken kind of a pop culture bent with a lot of emphasis on music for this unit. So we're starting with a review of Taylor Swift's most recent album. I've said this to all the classes, but if you have access to listen to Folklore by Taylor Swift, you are welcome to do so if you haven't already. If you don't have access or you're just not interested, that's totally fine. You don't have to listen to the album in order to listen to the review. That'll come up a couple more times. We'll read like a couple of movie reviews, but you don't have to like watch the movie, you just have to read the reviews. And I've tried to assign stuff that both is like big enough of a pop culture phenomenon that I think that you're familiar with it, but also a little bit of stuff that you may not be familiar with. So for instance, we're also going to, the next day, we're gonna watch some NPR Tiny Desk concerts. If you haven't heard of these, I really recommend looking into them. They're just fun. Whatever musicians you like, you can search them on YouTube with Tiny Desk concert, and I guarantee at least one of them has done one. Most musicians that I like have done a Tiny Desk concert at some point. But I've assigned you a couple of those. I've assigned you Lizzo, Harry Styles, and Mitski. Now, I know you've probably heard of Lizzo and you've probably heard of Harry Styles. You may not have heard of Mitski, and that's okay. I will warn you, that one is a little bit weird and you might not like it, and that's okay. But we're gonna think about purpose and audience. We're gonna think about like why is Lizzo's Tiny Desk concert different from Harry's, and why is Harry's different from Mitski's? And then you're also going to write a review of one of these, whichever one you pick. And you can, if you want, if you like really love Harry Styles, then you can write a glowing review of the Harry Styles concert, or you can write a bad review of the Harry Styles concert if you thought it was bad. You can kind of do whatever you want. You'll have several of those assignments that's just like you're writing little bitty reviews to kind of prepare for the final project for this unit. Next up, I've assigned you a couple episodes of the podcast Song Explorer, which is a podcast where musicians describe how they crafted a song that they wrote, and that includes like lyrics, that includes the actual music. And I thought that this was relevant because they talk a lot about purpose and audience. They talk a lot about like, why does this song sound the way that it does? Like, did I think that my fans would be interested in it? Did I have like a political purpose for this song? So I've assigned you a Meek Mill song. I'm sure that you're familiar with Meek Mill, and then I've also assigned you a Soccer Mommy song. I assigned you two musicians that sound pretty different, so you can get like a more holistic scope. And then the next assignment for that day is you're going to go to Pitchfork. You might be familiar with Pitchfork. It's a music review website, and you're going to look up an artist that you love or an album that you love. And it might take a couple of tries. Pitchfork has a lot of reviews, so you probably are going to be able to find something, but it might take you one or two tries if you love something like super obscure or something like super new. And then you're going to write a slightly longer review of that review. So do you agree with the reviewer? Do you think that it was fair? Do you think that it deserves the score that it got? And you're going to explain why or why not you think that stuff. And then next up, I've assigned you a couple episodes of John Green's podcast, The Anthropocene Reviewed. I love this podcast. I think it's really fun. You're probably familiar with John Green. It's the same John Green that wrote The Fault in Our Stars, the young adult author. He has a YouTube channel. He does Crash Course. You have encountered John Green at some point, I'm sure. You've probably seen the Fault in Our Stars movie at some point, if nothing else. But he has a podcast called The Anthropocene Reviewed, where he does little reviews of just like aspects of the human condition, like just like objects or concepts. And so I'm going to have you try that. It might be a little weird, it might be a little hard, but I think it's going to be really fun. And then you're going to read 2 reviews of the movie Joker. Again, you don't have to watch it in order to understand these reviews, but you can if you want to and if you have access to it. You're going to write a review of your favorite movie for somebody who hasn't seen it. And then you're going to start thinking about your final project. So for your final project, you have options. I wanted to give you options so that this would be not only challenging and rewarding, but fun for you. So you have options in terms of what you do your review on. So you can do an album, you can do just a song, you can do a book, you can do a movie, you can do a restaurant if you want to, or you can do a concept like John Green does in the Anthropocene Reviewed. That might be a little more difficult, a little more advanced, but if you really want to give it a try, I will fully support you. And so yeah, you can do a review of anything, any kind of artifact, and we'll talk more about this later. And then also you can do your review in any format that you want. The primary formats that I'm thinking of are a traditional written review, so a review like the reviews we're going to be reading. Or you can do a podcast, which we'll also talk a little bit about. It should be fairly easy and straightforward to do once we've kind of figured it out. Or you can do, if that scares you, if you don't like the fun option, you're welcome to do a traditional rhetorical analysis essay. I know that sometimes things that are supposed to be fun actually are not fun. They can be overwhelming, they can be intimidating. So if you really don't want to write a fun review or do a podcast or whatever, you're totally welcome to do a rhetorical analysis essay. And we can talk about that if that's something that people are interested in doing. But yes, so otherwise it's going to be pretty much the same format. You're still going to be doing daily writes. You're still going to be on the class blog, watching videos that I will hopefully figure out how to post soon. But yes, otherwise the structure is going to be the same. We'll still have our morning sessions or our morning Monday sessions, everything like that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And does anybody have any questions? And it's okay if not. And if not, I guess we'll be done.
I know. That sounds good. Well, guys, get that calendar downloaded and so you'll be up to date on everything. I cannot wait to see some of these reviews. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we will see you guys next Monday. So let us know if you need anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you.
All right.